There's a moment in recovery that nobody talks about. It's when people stop bracing around you. No announcement, no credit, no milestone. You just feel it. Conversations relax. People stop checking your tone. No one manages you anymore. I didn't feel relief. I felt uncomfortable. Intensity used to be my role. Chaos gave me purpose. And when I stopped, I didn't feel proud. I felt unnecessary. And that truth hit harder than anything else. Welcome to Mission to Recovery. I'm Ryan. This isn't about hype or shortcuts. It's about discipline, recovery, responsibility. If you're here, you want direction, not comfort. So, let's get into it. I want to talk about when people stop bracing. Stability comes with grief. When people stop bracing, you lose an identity. The unpredictable one, the intense one, the emotional center. That role was unhealthy, but it was familiar, and I didn't realize how much of my identity lived in reaction. When people braced, I felt important, not stable. Important. So when sobriety brought on calm, I felt empty. My brain searched for attention out of habit. And here's the truth. I didn't just miss chaos. I miss being needed. And when people brace, they orientate around you. When they stop, you're just another adult. If intensity was your value, that feels like loss. Nobody prepares you for that. If you're not the storm anymore, you have to decide what you are. And that choice doesn't come automatic. You've lost yourself. And that gets us into the addiction to being needed. Because not all addictions are substances. Some are urgency, some are usefulness, some are being needed in crisis. And chaos can feel like purpose. When everything was urgent, I didn't have to sit with myself. I just reacted. Peace doesn't clap. It doesn't fix, or it doesn't need fixing. And if your worth came from being necessary, peace feels like rejection. That doesn't get solved with motivation. If you don't face it, you'll regret urgency, conflict, control, overworked. You'll feel all that. It's the same addiction, just a new mask. And here's the blunt version. We didn't just get sober, we became boring adults. And boring is stable. And that's where trust lives. And that makes me think about relationships without performance. Sobriety wasn't the hard part. Dropping performance was. I used to show up loudly, apologize, promises, feel effort. You could see the effort I was putting in. Trust doesn't rebuild through performance. It rebuilds through predictability. Predictability feels empty when you are used to intensity. I wanted reassurance instead of responsibility. Safety doesn't announce itself. You notice it when people stop managing you and you don't get thanked. You just become someone people don't worry about. You think that would be comforting. It's not. But that is success, even when it doesn't feel like it. It makes you question everything. But that's just your old habits. That's your old thinking. but it is success. It's trust without reassurance. Reassurance disappears on purpose, and trust rebuilds through repetition. Time without incidents, calm responses, consistency. Words don't rebuild trust. Patterns do. Every reassurance request was just anxiety looking for relief. That wasn't anyone else's job anymore. Trust doesn't care about fairness, it cares about patterns. And patterns, yeah, they take time. It's where responsibility without resentment comes in. Responsibility with resentment poisons everything. And I caught myself keeping score. That's a trap. Responsibility isn't transactional, it's standard. It should be your standard. You show up because that's who you are, not because someone notices. And how many times did we do that? We took the extra job, we did the volunteer work, we did everything to get applause. Not because we wanted to, not because it was our job, not because it was our responsibility and made it seem like we were doing extra. No. Because we wanted applause. We didn't want people to look behind the curtain. When you have that shift into showing up because that's who you are, that shift cleans everything up. So, what's the cost of solidarity? I'll tell you, solidarity costs you. Costs you drama, attention, intensity, but you gain weight. Your words matter. Your presence calms. Authority isn't loud, it's earned. Boredom isn't failure, it's now a new baseline. And that's where work, leadership, and identity without urgency, they all come in here. Urgency felt like value. Fires mean purpose. And when systems stabilize, that hero disappears, right? There's no chaos, there's no spotlight, just work. And I had to learn how to be effective without applause. Because leadership isn't visible. It's stable. It's like authority is quiet versus control, which is loud. All right? We all agree, control is loud. Authority is calm. Difference between a leader and a boss. Ever have a boss come in, demands authority, tells you what to do, or control, tells you what to do, how to do it, doesn't do it calmly, it does it loudly, right? Authority. All right, troops, what do we have to get done? How do we complete this mission? That's authority. Insecurity hovers. Confident trust systems. Filling in silence. Filling it in just because. That's not leadership. It's anxiety. Authority uses restraint. So masculinity without vitality. Vitality isn't strength. Regulation is. Masculinity is reliability. Being steady is power under control. Slowing down didn't weaken me. You know what it did? Sharpened me. Helped me make those decisions that we needed to make in that time. What happens when you react emotionally? You can burn your life down real fucking quick, can't you? So what is your identity after urgency? Urgency leaves. Something needs to replace it. Or fall back into bad habits like you recreate chaos. Stability asks, who are you when nothing needs you? That question exposes people. Standards, setting that bar, that replaces reaction. Not what's urgent, but who am I practicing being? Who am I becoming? Who do I need to be? What's your standard? That's what replaces that chaos. And it takes discipline. Motivation can only take you so far. So what's the discipline of staying? Staying is the discipline. Calm days. Repetitive work. Doing all this with no applause. It's not about how many followers you may get. How many people are coming up to you and saying, good job. Hey, you're doing great. You know you're doing great because your life isn't falling apart second by second. The easy thing is to leave and think, are people noticing my change? Am I doing the right thing by doing this? Look what they're doing. They're going out. They're having fun. I'm missing out. That FOMO comes back in. Leaving is the easy part. Picking up that drink, picking up that whatever it is that you had as your drug of choice, your DOC. That's the easy. Staying compounds. That's how trust is built. It's when your wife feels she no longer has to go behind your back and check your emails or your phone. What are you fucking doing, you idiot? You know? Yeah, that was a thing. I don't blame her for it. When your wife goes out and is with her girlfriends and doesn't have to worry about what you're doing behind the scenes. Are you drinking? You have kids to worry about? Things like that. You know, that's how that trust is built. By the calm days, repetitive work, and just continuing on day in and day out. Compounds. And you have to learn that, right? You have to learn to stay solid. Staying when nothing is wrong. Because quiet feels exposed. When your nervous system is searching for danger, that's where people relapse because they need that. Peace isn't the enemy. Instability is. You need to learn to sit with yourself, sit with your emotions, sit in the quiet. Right? See, legacy isn't moments, it's patterns. It's how reliable you are, how safe people feel. People remember how it felt to live around you. That's why it takes a little bit to build that trust back up after you burnt it down. I'm not saying you no longer can get angry or frustrated, but it's how you deal with that now. Because I know my wife and my kids, if I get frustrated still, yeah, you can see it in their eyes. Okay, where is this going to go? I had bad news just this past week from the base. And every fiber of me wanted to drink, but I didn't. I stayed. I dealt with it. Because what would that have done? But they looked at me when I told them this news, and they're like, oh, fuck. Is he going to go off the rails here? What type of person are we going to get? You could see it in their eyes. And you know what? That was a little bit of a reminder, too, of how much I fucking hurt them. Like I said, people remember how it felt to live around you. Yeah, that one hurts. So I stayed. That was the discipline. And I made a plan. And I'm going to execute that plan. I show up day in and day out consistently. And that's how this works. That's how you win. It's like anything you do in life. Consistency matters. Your standards matter. You choose your standards over your mood. If standards change with mood, they aren't standards. They're preferences. Standards remove negotiation. Like when you ask, what does this require? Boom. This is what it requires. That's your standard. You then act. That's also maturity. It's being a fucking adult. It brings on the weight that you carry, right? Because once you're solid, people expect consistency. That's trust. Your calm sets tone. You stop needing validation. Imagine that. Nobody wants perfect. They just want predictability. Consistency over intensity. Regulation over reaction. Staying over sabotage. Do you know what that is? That's called leadership. Yeah, I'll let you sit with that for a minute. You needed to hear that, and I'm glad that you did. I needed to hear that. Writing it is one thing. Saying it out loud to you is another. As we bring this episode 7 down, I need you to hear this. You don't need to be louder. You don't need to be sharper. You need to be reliable. Be the person people don't worry about. That isn't boring. People may say that it is. You may feel like it is, but that isn't boring. That's strength under control. This is Mission to Recovery. Now go forth and kick ass.